Hi, and welcome to the Heart of a Perfectionist podcast. I'm your host, Tegan Thompson. I'm a book lover, a chocoholic, and an INTJ living in a world filled with extroverts. I made this podcast to share my experiences and struggles as an introverted perfectionist, and to bring the inner workings of an introvert's mind to introverts and extroverts alike. So grab a cup of tea and get comfortable. It's time to unmute. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Heart of a Perfectionist podcast. I hope that you guys are enjoying this beautiful weather we have this weekend and enjoying the fall, seeing the leaves change and start to fall onto the ground. It's really beautiful. This week we will be talking about emotional intelligence, also known as your emotional quotient, or EQ. It's very similar to your IQ, right? That one's just based on your general intelligence, whereas your emotional one is specific to how you understand and deal with emotions, both yours and other people's. And I wanted to talk about this because there's a lot of people who aren't fully aware of where their emotional intelligence is, or what emotional intelligence is comprised of. So I thought it would be a great thing to talk about. So the components of your emotional intelligence have 4 different components. And the first one is your ability to perceive emotions. And perceiving emotions involves being able to accurately recognize and judge your emotions and other people's emotions. And it includes a lot of nonverbal signals, such as your body language and your facial expressions. So, being able to look at someone and determine what they're feeling. Are they happy? Are they sad? Are they mad? Are they angry? Are they scared or surprised or whatever, right? Being able to do that with someone, and also being able to do that with yourself, to recognize what you're feeling in a specific moment of time. The second component is being able to reason with emotions. And reasoning with emotions involves how you use your emotions to think, and to process things and to make decisions. It is about being able to use your emotions to prioritize what you want to focus on and pay attention to, and then also how you want to react to things, or what you react to. The third component is understanding emotions, and this involves you being able to interpret the cause of your emotions or someone else's emotions and what it could mean for that person, right? So if you go to work and a coworker comes in and they seem angry, are they angry because they're at work? Are they angry because they didn't have a good morning or something happened at home? Being able to determine and understand why those emotions are happening and what that means for them and what it could potentially mean for a group of people. And the fourth component of emotional intelligence is managing emotions. And this involves being able to regulate your own emotions. Kind of, again, goes along with recognizing how you're feeling, and then being able to calm yourself down, or be happier when you feel sad or something, right? Being able to kind of just regulate and not stay in one emotion for a long period of time. And then also being able to respond appropriately to your own emotions that you're feeling and the emotions that other people feel around you. And this can be a really hard thing, especially if someone's kind of in a bad mood. It often can cause other people around them to be in a bad mood. Or, if they're happy, it can make you happy, right? So a lot of times emotions can feel contagious, but just knowing how to manage your own emotions and not necessarily let other people always influence how you feel. So those are the 4 components of emotional intelligence. So I'll say them again. The first one is perceiving emotions. The second one is reasoning with emotions. The third one is understanding emotions. And the fourth one is managing emotions. And those are kind of the 4 components that make up your emotional intelligence. And emotional intelligence is really important, just because as you increase it, you create greater self-awareness for yourself, and awareness of other people as well. And you also just create empathy, and you have empathy for other people. And it's really important to have empathy, because then you can be supportive to them and everything. So it's always a good thing. To increase your emotional intelligence, you can always work on things like how well you listen to other people. Are you kind of just listening to get it over with and be done with them? Or are you really listening to what they have to say and trying to understand what their perspective is on the situation and everything? You can work on your empathizing, right? Putting yourself in their shoes, trying to understand how they feel and why they feel that way, and being supportive to them. And then also working on reflecting on your emotions and on other people's emotions, just so that you can learn from your own experiences and kind of just truly understand your emotions and the emotions of other people around you, so that you can become more self-aware, right? So I'm actually going to challenge you to take an emotional intelligence quiz. I will put a link in the description of this episode so that you can take it's a really short one. I think it's like 5 questions. It's for sure less than 10 questions. So it's really, really short and kind of just gives you a general understanding of where your emotional intelligence is at. And I want to encourage you to be super honest with yourself in the quiz, and kind of just, answer them truthfully, so that you can, it's for you. It's not for anyone else. You don't have to go and tell anyone what you get on the quiz, but, to just become aware of where you're at with your emotional intelligence, and maybe some things that you can work on, so that you can build your emotional intelligence. I know I took the quiz, and I know that there are definitely things that I can work on, and so I'm trying to do that, and it's a process. I always talk about building habits, and so it's definitely something I know that I'm going to have to do, and there's probably a lot of you out there also who need to build up the habit of, being better listeners, or empathizing better, managing your emotions, or whatever it may be for you. It just takes building that habit. And once you have that habit, then it just becomes natural to you. So yeah, I'm going to challenge you to take an emotional intelligence quiz, and then kind of just reflect on it. So I know this episode was a little short this week, but thank you to everyone who came out and listened to this week's episode of the Heart of a Perfectionist podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, or if you learned anything new, please go share it with a friend. And as always, have a good weekend. And I look forward to seeing you guys again next week on the Heart of a Perfectionist podcast. Wow.